Welcome back, Time-Crunched fans. I'm your host, Coach Adam Pulford. Today, we'll explore the value of the recovery ride. Many coaches and programs call for it. Many athletes do it, or think they're doing it, or attempt to do it. But are they doing it right? How do you get it wrong? And when should you choose the easy ride or to ride the couch? We'll talk about all this and more on today's podcast, which, by the way, is inspired by you, our audience. As you know, if you're a longtime listener, you can write in with any question you wish around all things endurance training, racing, fueling, recovery, equipment, etc., and we'll do our best to answer it on a future episode. Just head over to trainwright.com/podcast and click on Ask a Training Question. Fill it out, send it over. We'd love to hear from all of you. So today's question comes from a listener in Colorado, and she writes this. Hey, Coach Adam, love the shows. Keep them coming. Thank you. My question is on recovery rides. I'm a time-crunched athlete riding only 6 to 8 hours per week, and I feel like I'm wasting my time going easy for 1 hour recovery rides. So do we even need them? What's the value of recovery rides, and does it matter versus rest days? Thanks, Megan. So this is a really good question, and I will give you the $1 million answer. No, you do not need recovery rides. If your goal is rest and deep recovery, you can skip the recovery ride. If your goal is to be fully restored, a full rest day is the better option, especially if you're a time-crunched athlete. Why is that? Well, if you're training 6 to 8 hours a week, I'm sorry, this is the truth, but we typically don't carry a ton of residual fatigue over from training. Yes, you can go hard. Yes, you can do high intensity. Yes, you will get tired from training, but if you're sleeping well and you're eating well and all the good athlete habit things that we talk about on this podcast, the fatigue is actually coming from more life stuff and under recovery, and that's usually a very deeper thing. So a pure rest day is way better to do. And just know that the legs should be there for you when you hit the bike again if you take that rest day. So then the question is this: why do so many people, coaches included, prescribe recovery rides? Well, let's talk about active versus passive recovery. We'll talk about benefits of each, and then we'll get into some scenarios on when you would choose active or recovery ride or passive ride the couch. So both in research and in practice, if you have deep fatigue, meaning TSB is low, legs are thick and heavy, I am tired is the mood, right? Passive recovery or no riding at all, no training is the best thing for recovery. Glycogen stores can fully replenish, hydration of plasma volume can top off, your autonomic nervous system can stay in that rest and digest mode all day, as well as all the other very complicated things in our physiology that occur when rest is had. Rest day is a rest day, and this means no training. Just do your work that you're doing, do your chores, do the family stuff, normal human behavior, okay? Active recovery is a good option when you have mild fatigue, let's call it that, and you just need an easy day on the bike before hitting it hard the next day, okay? And so if you have some efforts to do the next day, or you want your legs to perhaps feel better for the workout or the race, whatever the efforts are, some zone 1 easy spinning, which, by the way, is going to be below 60% of FTP. That's that zone 1 that we're talking about. When I typically prescribe it, it's going to be 40 to 59%, something like that. So that's the type of intensity that we're talking about when we say zone 1 intensity. So spinning like that for 45 to 60 minutes can help in that feeling or the sensation of my legs being a little bit lighter, and maybe that carries over to the next day. But just know that a full rest day will do the exact same thing, if not better results when it comes to actual recovery. Also, there's a whole host of cognitive benefits from having just an easy session versus always hammering or always having some performance objective to achieve. Simply riding your bike easy is really relaxing, and I fully endorse that, okay? So if you're disciplined enough to keep to that zone 1 easy spinning on the recovery day and let the brain unwind, and you have time to do this and it's relaxing to you, go ahead and do that spin. Like I said, 45 to 60 minutes. That's about the limit that I prescribe for my time-crunched athletes. And any longer than that, yeah, you'll probably be wasting your time. But 45, 60-minute easy spin, all good. So when should you choose passive versus active recovery? Let's first start with passive. And here's a couple just like scenarios that I see with myself, with my athletes, and kind of like tease out of some of the research as well. So if you have deep fatigue, meaning you wake up and you're tired, the mood is low, you don't want to train, right? And you just had something big over the weekend, take a day off. You need a day off. Okay. Way better than an easy spin. Another scenario is maybe there's a recovery ride scheduled, but it's the end of the day. It's Monday. You had a huge day at work. It's like 8:00 at night. Coach is calling for a recovery spin, but you know what? You're better off getting some food, going to bed, getting more sleep. Passive recovery. Now, if you typically and are thinking of, and stressing about all the other things you could be doing on this recovery ride, and you actually do the recovery ride and you're like, oh God, I could be doing this, I could be doing that. Oh my God, I have to go pick up the kids. And you're like jamming to get it in, just take a rest day. Because I think like there's no way for us to quantify that mental stress, but it's there and you're better off just getting some shit done versus going zone one on your bike. Another one is when you went bigger than planned. No athlete ever does that, but you went bigger than planned on the weekend. Like you just added on many hours more. The TSS was bigger, and maybe coach gives you the option. I give this to my athletes sometimes on Monday. I just say, hey, rest day with options, your choice. You can do, no training. You can spin light. You can go for a walk, something like that. Give the athlete some options. And you went bigger than planned, then go easier than planned. Take a full rest day. Use passive recovery to hit the reset button before you get into the week's training. Now, finally, if you're one of those riders who just can't help themselves to go hard up the hill or throw in a few openers on your recovery rides, my advice to you is just rest. Don't ride your bike. You're definitely not helping your recovery case by going hard on these easy days, no matter how good you feel at the end, and then you want to sprint. It's just silly. Okay, so let's run through some scenarios where you choose active recovery or the recovery ride. Now, an easy spin between hard days. Do it all the time. Perfect. Zone one, easy. Then go hard the next day. When you've had that big weekend, maybe that I was just talking about, and you've taken a rest day already, but you just want to get the legs spinning and going again before you hit some hard intervals midweek, that's when you do an active recovery spin. When your work and life schedule are balanced and you have some extra time and you don't have to cram to get it in. So in that scenario where I was saying, hey, choose passive rest, if it's just like the end of the day and coach is calling for an easy ride, it's the opposite, right? It's like, oh, I don't have anything until 2:00. It's about noon. Yeah, I'll do that easy spin. And again, just like no performance goals, just go pedal your bike and enjoy it. Another one is when the legs are still tired from the weekend and the program calls for intervals on Tuesday, and it's Tuesday, and you're like, whew, this ain't going to go good. I tell my athletes, ride easy. Self-determine that and choose to go easy on that day. We can just move the intervals down a day. No big deal. So that's when another way or another reason why you choose active recovery. Now, finally, quick word about off the bike active recovery. So if you're like me and your rest days are mostly just sitting in front of the computer and there's not a lot of natural movement going on in your everyday life, taking some movement breaks are a great thing. So maybe that's a light 20-minute yoga flow in the morning or before lunch. And that just brings some blood flow to the muscles, wakes up the mind. It just like gets your mind off of work. And it's a very good thing to do to incorporate that in. Walking your dog or taking a light walk, 20 minutes around the neighborhood, great way to just break it up. Okay. I walk a lot when I'm on phone calls. So instead of sitting at my computer while I'm talking to my athletes, if I'm not looking at Training Peaks or something like that, that adds in some steps and just kind of gets me moving and increases blood flow again, like I said. And all of that is just normal human movement. It's not training. So no need to put it on Training Peaks. If you do a 20-minute super light yoga flow and you quantify it as 3 or 4 or 5 TSS, like that ain't going to move the needle. That's doing nothing for your training, but it's doing wonders for your health. That's great. Do it, but just don't stress about logging it. Okay. Now, not moving hits the reset button well for recovery as an athlete, but we do want to stay healthy as humans, and that's where general movement is good. Here's something that I tell my athletes often. Recovery rides are more for the head than the legs. And that's a true statement. Much of the data suggests that if you have 24 hours to recover and one group of athletes does zone 1 active recovery for 60 minutes or less, and the other just lays on the couch, there will likely be no significant changes in performance the next day for either group unless the athletes are in a heavy training phase, meaning they have deep fatigue. Then that passive recovery group will always win the recovery game because they get more restoration. So finally, my last word here is rest is resting. Okay. What I say is, in order to do your best rest, you just need to rest. Okay. Actually, doing recovery is doing nothing at all. And there's a great book about this. It's called Good to Go, and it's by Christy Yeshwandon. Ironically, she is doing a presentation, or she's giving a presentation to CTS tomorrow. And also, ironically, this question that Megan posed here comes at a time where recovery is kind of on everybody's mind right now, which is good. But Christy was actually my third interview of this podcast ever. So if you want to listen to my interview with her, go all the way back to episode number 3 for that one, or you could just get her book and read about all these different recovery modalities out there, anything from cold plunges to infrared saunas, squeezy boots, as she likes to call them, Theraguns and stuff like that. She talks about all the recovery modalities out there and what they actually do versus what they're trying to achieve. Overall, her main emphasis is to keep it really simple, which is why I love this book and recommend it to all my athletes. Okay. So, and now I'm recommending it to all of you. So to bring this thing home and in summary, if you want true deep recovery, rest day and not riding is your best option. Now, if you have time, you want to get out and move a bit, get some fresh air, spin easy. Yeah, do a recovery ride, have some active recovery. You can also stay off the bike and do some active recovery, but don't get tempted into doing any sprints, hill climbs, or hard efforts. Just stick with the plan, stick with zone 1 recovery, and allow your body to rest. So that's it. That's our show for today. If you liked what you heard, please share it with a friend or a training partner. If you have any questions on your own, don't forget to submit those over to me and the team. And also, if you want more information on active versus passive recovery, I've linked to all the research that I've talked about here in today's episode on our show notes and landing page on Apple Podcasts, as well as trainright.com, and go to podcasting and you'll find it there. I also included a link to Christy's book, and that's a great resource to help quiet the noise on all this recovery stuff. Just remember, keep it simple, and when in doubt, rest it out.